Hello, this is lesson 1.3, subtracting integers, and you will need this handout with you before you start, and also have at least 2 different colors to write with. And if you don't have this handout, you can always find it on my PowerSchool website where you would find this video. Okay, let's look at the top left side of your notes, and what we're going to see here are the rules for subtracting integers. Okay, so for the first rule, it says rewrite the problem to add the opposite. So on every time you see a subtraction sign, we're going to change it to adding the opposite. In fact, let's go ahead and underline add. So we're changing all our subtraction problems to adding the opposite. One thing that I tell my kids to remember is to use the words keep, change, change. And what keep, change, change helps us with is to change those subtraction problems into adding the opposite. I'll show you how to use this when we get to the problems in the other box. After you rewrite the problem to an addition problem, then the second step, what you're going to do is you're going to use your adding rules. Okay, so remember, same signs, you find the sum. Different signs, you find the difference. So let's go ahead and underline. Same signs, sum, that means you add. Different signs, you find the difference. So that means you would subtract. And then don't forget, always take the sign of the bigger absolute value. That's key. So let's go ahead and box that. Please pause the video if you need to finish writing down what I have written on here. Okay, now let's take a look at these problems. So this is where I want you to use a red color to show your keep, change, change. So when you see subtraction, you're going to keep the first number and then change the subtraction sign to addition and then change the second integer. So I'm going to write here KCC, and please do the same. Okay, so that stands for keep, change, change. So again, you keep the first integer, you change the subtraction to addition, and then the second integer is 9. You're going to change that to the opposite of 9. So that's going to be -9. I'll put parentheses around it because it's a negative following an addition problem. Now we can just use our our adding rules to add these two integers. -5 plus -9. If they're the same signs, we add them, we find the sum, so that's going to be 14, and then we take the sign of the bigger absolute value, so it's -14. So here's our answer. Let's try it again with number 2. Okay, so you see a subtraction sign, see the subtraction, that means you have to do keep, change, change. So let's write KCC above that. Okay, so again, it stands for keep. We keep the first integer, so that's a 3. We change the subtraction to addition, okay? And then we change the second integer to the opposite. So this was a 10. Now it's going to become a -10. So I'm going to put that in parentheses. All right, and now we use our adding rules. So here we have different signs. Different signs, you find the difference. So you can subtract 3 from 10, which is 7, and you take the sign of the bigger absolute value. 10 has a bigger absolute value and it's negative, so we have a -7. And then we box our answer. Okay, let's try it one more time. So we see the subtraction sign right here on number 3, and so that means we have to do keep, change, change. So let's write KCC, keep above the first integer, then change above the subtraction, and then change above the second integer. So we keep the first integer, -8. We change the subtraction to addition, and then we change the -3 to its opposite, and that's a +3. Okay, so now we can use our adding rules. So in this case, we have different signs, a negative and a positive, so we find the difference. The difference between 8 and 3 is 5, and the bigger absolute value is negative, so the answer is -5. Now let's take a look when we're adding 3 or more integers. So if we look at number 4, we see two subtraction signs. Okay, we have one here and here. We're going to first apply keep, change, change to the first subtraction sign, okay, because we're working left to right. So now we're going to have 9. We change the subtraction to addition, and then we change the 16 to its opposite, which is negative 16. Okay, and now we have to solve that problem. And 9 plus negative 16, they're different signs, so we're going to subtract them. Okay, we get a 7, and the bigger absolute value is negative 7. Okay, but we still have to bring down that minus 8. So we're going to go ahead and now do negative 7 minus 8. So we're going to do keep, change, change again over this because it's subtraction. We keep the negative 7. We change the subtraction to addition. And then we change the 8 to its opposite. Okay, and now we solve it using our adding rules. So here we have negative 7 plus negative 8, which means they're the same sign. And so we find the sum, and it's going to stay negative, negative 15. And we box our answer. All right, let's try it with one more problem, number 5. And we have a subtraction sign right here. Okay, so we're going to do keep, change, change. Let's write KCC above it. So we're going to keep the first integer, which is 0. We change the subtraction to addition, and then we change the negative 9 to a positive 9. Oops, I don't need the parentheses because it's positive, so I'm going to erase that. All right, so now we can add those two numbers, 0 plus 9, that's 9. Okay, now we have to bring down the 13, but notice with the 13 there's a plus. So we're going to write 9 plus 13. And here we do not use KCC because it's addition. So on addition problems, never use KCC. So we can just add them like normal, 9 plus 13. They're both the same signs. That means we find the sum, and that's going to be 22. 9 plus 13 is 22, and then that is our answer. Okay, now for the next section of your notes, number 6 and 7, we're going to do that next. So here we're going to talk about range, and I want you to write here that range is the biggest number minus the smallest number. Okay, so on this problem here it says the highest temperature during winter is 10 degrees Fahrenheit. The lowest temperature is 3 degrees Fahrenheit. What is the range in temperatures? So this one I like to use a vertical number line so you can visually see. Positive 10 is up here, negative 3 is here. A lot of kids, the mistake they make is they just do 10 minus 3 and they say the answer is 7. But if you look at this picture, that is not 7 units apart, okay? So what we're going to do is set it up like this, biggest number minus the smallest number. So we have 10 minus negative 3. Okay, and now here's our subtraction problem. So we're going to write keep, change, change. So we keep the 10, change, the subtraction to addition, and then change the negative 3 to a positive 3. And then now we can add 10 plus 3, it's going to be 13. So it's 13 degrees Fahrenheit is the range. Okay, there's a 13 degree difference between these two temperatures. Okay, let's take a look at the second problem, number 7. On number 7, it says your lowest score on a video game is negative 23 points. Your highest score is negative 5 points. What is the difference in your points? Okay, so you're going to take and look at this picture right here. I drew a number line here so you could see that the bigger number is not negative 23. Negative 23 is smaller. It's going way below. The bigger number is the number on top. It's negative 5. So you're going to take your highest score, right? It's the highest minus the lowest. And we're going to write here negative 5 minus negative 23. Okay. And now we can write keep, change, change. So then we have negative 5 plus, and the negative 23 becomes positive 23. And now our adding rules says, okay, if they're different signs, find the difference. So 23 minus 5 is 18. Okay, and then the bigger number is positive, and then we're going to label it 18 points. Okay, and that's all for your notes. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.